Credit cards. We're talking about those today. It's one of the biggest wealth killers for young people and especially young men. And I'm going to show you exactly how credit cards and credit card companies are quietly, slowly, but surely robbing you each and every month. And especially if you're one of those people that only makes the minimum payment. So what's crazy is, even for someone like me, I want to show you an example today. They send you these things in the mail. This one was more of a business line of credit. They literally offered me a $500,000 line of credit. So if you think that they're just mailing these things to you for you be able to spend money or out of the goodness of their hearts, you're wrong. What they're trying to do is get you in debt and get you trapped in debt forever. And that's why they send you these things. They send them to you in the mail. I remember being in college and used to get these bad boys on a regular basis when you didn't even have a job yet. And whether they were $500, $1,000, $2,500 lines of credit, what they're doing is giving you money to spend for things you don't need and money you don't have to get you kind of caught into the trap. And so why do they do that? Why do credit cards do that? Well, let's be real quick here. Credit card companies make money in two ways. One, if I use my card and swipe it at a vendor, they get a little piece of the action. It's a small piece, but they make a little money there. And that's why you'll go into some businesses and you'll see vendors saying cash only. We don't even use credit cards because they don't want to pay that 2, 3, 4% fee, whatever it might be. Or sometimes even pass that fee along to you. If you want to pay cash versus credit, they'll charge you more if you want to use credit. And what they're hoping is that you'll get a line of credit, use that credit card, and the minimum payment, let's say, is $50 a month. And they know, hey, I can afford the $50 a month. But what happens is over time is that $50 that you originally might have spent on something, let's say a sweatshirt, by the time you pay that thing off over 5 or 10 or 15 years, is that $50 sweatshirt just cost you $400 and you don't even know it. And that's the trick. That's the game that they're playing with you. And they're counting. Banks are counting on the fact that you won't know this, that you won't understand this. And this is the whole point of this channel and why I want to help you guys is financial literacy is the absolute must thing you must have. So let's talk about credit cards, credit card traps, how they work and what they're doing. And again, if you get these every month, what you should do is rip them up, take them. I have my little thing over here with the shredder is. I'm going to throw them in the shredder and get rid of this bad boy because I don't want this. I don't need access to $500,000 in credit because I don't need it, but they're giving it to me. They're offering it for me. So how does this work? Okay. So I'm going to walk you through a real world example. If you have a credit card balance of $2,500, which is honestly less than the average person has, and we're going to use an interest rate of 20%, which I did some research right here. We pulled some information up, and an average credit card rate right now is pushing 21, 22% as of May of this year. And so because of that, I wanted to make this as real world as possible. And what they're hoping that you do is pay the minimum payment. And the way they figure out that minimum payment is it's typically either 2 or 3% of the balance, or there's a minimum dollar amount. So if that payment starts to 2 or 3% of a $100 balance starts to become really small, they'll make a minimum payment, say of $25 or $50 a month. So just so you understand how that works. And if you start off with a $2,500 balance and a 2% fee, it's a $50 a month payment. But if you pay $50 every single month, most people have no idea how long this is going to take. And I'm going to show you in my silly little thing right here. I want you to look at these numbers closely because I'm going to talk about these real quick and I'll show you this thing again, is that if you make the minimum payment, it's going to take you 178 months and 15 years, and you're going to pay $4,733 worth of interest. So you're going to totally paid $7,233 over 15 years, right? You're going to pay that much money for something where most people wouldn't even remember what they spent the money on in the first place because a lot of that money you spent a long time ago. And most credit card is just overspending on things that we can't afford that we don't need in the first place. And you literally almost paid 3 times the original balance on that over 15 years. That doesn't even include the stress, the anxiety, oh my God, I got these credit card debts and these consumer loans that are going out in the wrong direction. It's just, you got to be careful of that. And that's what they're hoping for, is that you're not going to understand how that works. And so how do you escape? How do you break the cycle? How do you get to a position of getting those credit cards gone and being out of debt? And everybody has their opinions on whether credit cards are good or credit cards are bad or whether you need them to establish credit. I'm going to do a separate video on the pros and cons of what credit cards are all about. Not right here on this video, but I'm going to do a separate video about that. So you can check that one out as far as that goes. But How do you escape this pattern? Okay. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to take these cards, even if you have balances and they're active, and you're going to shred them up and you're going to rip them up so that you don't use them anymore. And people talk about, well, how am I going to shop online? Or how am I going to buy an airplane ticket? Or how am I going to do all those things? You can do them using a debit card. And again, pros and cons of debit cards versus credit cards. We'll talk about that in the other video. But for today, you've got to stop using the card. And if there's that temptation, like for me, it's food. If there's food in my house that isn't good for me, I'm going to eat it. If it's not there, then I'm not tempted to do it. And that's part of why I try not to go out to eat a lot, because I never order the healthy thing. I always fall off the wagon. I eat the double cheeseburger and the fries rather than the salmon salad. It's just how I am. And for you, it's the same thing. If there's a credit card there and you have the ability to spend money on it that you don't have, it's just this temptation that you don't need. It's too easy to spend. It's too easy to use money you don't have. So how do we fix this? Well, first of all, instead of paying the minimum payment of $50, we're going to start paying $150 a month. And we should be able to find that extra $100. We'll talk about it looking in budgets and all those other kind of things. But if you only pay 50, again, 15 years, triple the amount of money. But I'm going to show you again. If you pay $150 a month, right? I'm showing it to you right here in the numbers. One, it's only going to take you 20 months to pay it off. You are only going to pay $457 worth of interest, and you're going to save, close to $4,000 in 12 and a half, 13 years of your time. So look at those numbers again, right? That is a huge, huge difference. And now what you can do is take that $150 a month that you're reusing on the credit card and potentially pay off your car loan sooner, pay off your student loan sooner. Or if you don't have any debts at that point, start taking that extra money and investing it into your long-term accounts, whether it's retirement accounts, whether it's non-retirement accounts. And again, we'll show you on the mortgage or the investment calculators how that money will build up so fast. I know everybody talks about how small amounts of money won't do a big thing. They will, and I promise you that. Well, so second thing you got to do is automate this process so that money comes into your checking account. You automate the payment to the credit card on those dates so that you pay the $150 a month. And if for some reason you fall into an extra $25, $50, $100 a month, pay off the credit card even faster, pay it off even sooner, and get that thing gone and gone forever. So that's how we escape. Now, once we get past that, we want to build up some cash reserves so that when we do get a flat tire or we do have something that comes up that we're not expecting, we can use cash and our debit cards rather than going back onto the credit card. Because if you go back onto the credit card, again, you saw what happens. It's a slippery slope and easy to fall backwards. And again, I'm not saying this is going to be an easy, quick, super fast fix, but it is something that you need to understand how it works and how over time they are slowly, like I said, the numbers are small, but if they got millions and millions of people and they're making $50, $100 a month off everybody, that's why these credit card companies are in these giant buildings and you see them everywhere, and why, stadiums are made, named after them and all that kind of stuff. So you got to understand how the plan works. Now, why does this matter so much? I think I just kind of told you why it matters so much. It's not about just numbers. Now, this part that we keep talking about right here, this part's great, right? You save a bunch of money, you save a bunch of time, you get all that off your plate. But it's about being able to now flip that script and start earning interest and earning revenues and putting money away and start having the snowball go in the right direction versus the wrong direction. And you can build wealth, but if you're in these debts, it's like I said, it's heavy on your chest. You can't breathe. It becomes very difficult. And every time I talk to somebody, especially young men who feel like, why did I not learn this? Why do I not know this? And they feel like they should be providers for their families. And part of why sometimes, people don't want to date them. People aren't going to be with them because they're in so much debt and have so many problems. It's like, I don't want to start off in such a negative place. You just get stuck in that hamster wheel, and that hamster wheel becomes more and more stressful and more difficult. So let's refresh this real quick. Got to figure out how much credit card debt you have and what interest rate you're paying. Figure out, you can look at it on your phone. Most you have the apps on your phone. Look at what that minimum payment is and start finding a way to try to pay double, triple, quadruple what that monthly payment is so we can get this gone as soon as possible. And that's how you start to slowly break the cycle. And I always say, when you get your finance circle in order, it's amazing how it falls into your relationship and your health and wellness circle. It starts to funnel into your business world. It starts to funnel into all these other circles of your life as positivity starts to happen in one, it happens in all of those. So This is my call to action. What I said is, if you have multiple credit cards, okay, write down every single one of them. What is the balances? What are the rates? What are the minimum payments? Whichever one, depending on what strategy you want to go with, whichever one either has the smallest balance so we can get a quick win, or whichever one has the highest interest rate, start with one of those. And we're going to pay double, triple, quadruple on one of those so we can get it gone more quickly. And then we could take that money and start paying off the second credit card. Okay. Now, if you want to know the difference as to why credit cards are horrible or the pros and cons of credit cards or, the bad, the good, the ugly, I'm going to do a separate video. I'm going to record it literally right after I record this one to talk about the pros, the cons, the good and bad about credit cards. But to me, I have credit cards, but you have to be super, super disciplined with your credit cards. And I know people talk about you have to have a system and you can't win without a great system. And I understand like payment systems and investing systems, all those things are great. But anyone who says you don't have to have discipline or discipline comes and goes, yeah, it comes and goes, but you have to have it. And the more you have discipline, the more frequently you can apply discipline, whether it is to eating and nutrition or your money and finance, you've got to have it. Okay. So we're going to show you the pros and cons. But again, not a Dave Ramsey guy that says you should never have a credit card, but they will prove to you that people spend more and they're more easy to overspend their budgets and their incomes when you have access to credit cards because that's money you don't have. Are there some pros? Yes. And debit cards, when you're sliding right out of your checking account, you're giving people access to money right immediately. And it's a little harder to get that money back if there's a problem or if there's fraud and those kind of things. So I get it. But if you understand how all this works, and maybe you just use a credit card to set up for auto payments online, I do a lot of that kind of stuff. I don't use a credit card a lot, but it is nice to be able to be on Amazon or buy airplane tickets or do those kind of things. But you can do it with the debit card too. So hopefully that helps. And just remember this. Okay. This is what you need to remember. This is what you need to understand about credit cards and how you have to get out of credit card debt. You are never going to win the game of money and finance if you don't. So you have questions, please reach out, DM me. We're starting to get more and more on those questions. Share this content, share this information, and hopefully that will be one of the basic financial literacy principles that you've just learned to help you along the way and get you on your path to financial freedom.